Hello friends, it's Nomad Brad coming to you from my box truck, and today we're outside Lowe's Home Improvement Center, and I'm going to be doing a little home improvement on my tiny home on wheels. So here's the plan. Now that the box truck is pretty much livable, I have all my tools, all my stuff inside, so that means I can work remotely wherever I happen to be. So we're going to install the countertop here at Lowe's. We're going to go in, buy a kitchen countertop, install it, and then hopefully there's enough time we can cut in the sink and the induction cooktop. Super nice thing about this type of setup is when you're doing work on your rig in a Lowe's or a Home Depot, as you're working on a project, anything you might need, you can just run inside, grab some screws, grab some extra parts, and you're not having to drive to the hardware store. So let's go ahead, grab that countertop and dive into it. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a little preview, get you up to date. Here's the current state of my box truck. I do have electrical installed. Right now I'm using a BLUETTI Apex 300 power station. I have 2,000 watts of solar coming into it. I do have a Rec Pro 12 volt refrigerator freezer combo. Got it fully stocked with food. Mini split is installed. We got a wet bath right over here. And so this is what we're going to be doing today. This is a temporary countertop. This is just a piece of 3/4 with laminate on it, but this is actually gonna live over on this side of the box, and I'm gonna go get a regular laminate kitchen countertop to put over here, and then we're gonna install this 20-inch top mount sink, and then back here I have a 2-burner induction cooktop. So if all goes well, we're gonna get all those items dropped in today. So here's the countertop I went with. This is the Stratetta white marble finish. I used this exact same stuff in my previous box, and it held up really well. After almost 3 years, there were no scratches, no dents, no dings. I was really happy with the quality of it, so that's why we're using it again. It's gonna go right here. So now what I need to do is, in the meantime, we gotta pull off the old countertop and we'll rest it over here. And then that'll give us space to drop in the new countertop, secure it, and then to make a cut in for the sink and a cut in for the cooktop. I build all my counters out of 2x2, so it's really strong, rigid, but also it's pretty lightweight and pretty affordable. So we got basically just 2x2 stick frame, and then the countertop sits on top of this, and then screws come down underneath up through the 2x2 into the bottom of the countertop itself. Drop this into place. Looking good already. See how easily this sticker comes off. Probably leave a bunch of adhesive behind. Oh yeah, that's not gonna be a simple one. We'll deal with that later. Maybe we'll cut that out anyway for the sink. Got a little rainstorm going on up here. I guess it's time to close the door. All right. Just in that little bit of time, I heard the rain coming. We got a little bit of water on the counter, a little bit of water on the floor. So I'll have to wipe that up real quick. And then we will turn on some inside lights, get it a little more cozy in here. So I'm using this BLUETTI Apex 300. I have some temporary, just regular old school plug-in lighting that I'm just using in the meantime. Old incandescent bulbs, but they provide the light. We ain't mad about it. And then what else? I also have this cool little LED little spotlight deal here. This is pretty sweet. Has 3 different settings. The head is like flexible. You can get all kinds of angles with it. This is pretty nice. And here we are back in business. Let's take a look really quick at the power station, just see what the levels are. We got 99% battery, 126 watts going out, 276 coming in. The BLUETTI Apex 300 has 4 120 volt outlets on it, and so I got all those plugged in, and then I also have a little power strip here just because I have all kinds of different devices and I don't want to be plugging and unplugging. I want to give you guys a little update on the BLUETTI Apex 300 power station. I've been using it for 3 months now. At the beginning of my build out, I used it strictly as a job site power station to run my tools and charge my phone and camera batteries. It has a monster 3800 watt inverter, so I was able to run all my power tools without any issue. And the built-in 2700 watt battery bank lasted several days before I needed to recharge it. And now that I'm living in my box truck, I'm using it as my primary power source to run all my household appliances like my laptop, my lights, air conditioner, and my induction cooktop. I have it hooked up to my 2000 watt rooftop solar array, which basically keeps the battery topped off at 100% all day. And then once the sun goes down, the built-in 2700 watt hour battery easily powers everything overnight. I can honestly recommend it to anyone looking for an easy and affordable electrical system. Here's the sink we're going to be installing. It's a big boy. It's about 20 inches by 18 inches. And so this sink is actually designed to be an undermount, like to go up underneath on like a granite countertop. But because these are laminate countertops, they're press board inside with a thin sheet of laminate. We can't do an undermount because that would expose the press board to water. So we're gonna have to do a drop-in mount, which is totally fine. That's what I did on my last build. So we can't use the template. The sink did come with a cutout template, but that's only for the undermount, which is gonna be a smaller opening. So I went ahead and made some measurements here to do a drop-in mount. All right, so here's our cutout. We got 16 and 7/8, or we got 19 and 7/8 by 16 and 7/8. And then I'll show you guys what I did is I went ahead and drilled just a little hole in each corner with a small drill bit just to make sure that I have clearance. So you can see up here, there's one hole that came through. Up there, there's another one. We got one up here in the corner and one up there in the corner. So as you can see, it was pretty tight, but I had to make sure that I'm not cutting into these 2x2s. So the sink just barely fits inside, which is good. So now we can go ahead and cut with the jigsaw. The first thing I'll do is use a paddle bit to cut a hole here and cut a hole here. And then we'll send in the jigsaw, try to go slow and steady and take our time. And the great thing about always having your home with you, if you want to take a break, grab a cold drink, you can do that. Everything you need, everything you own, everything you want, it's all here, baby. It's all inside this 16-foot by 8-foot box. And it's a little bit warm right now, even though it is raining outside. It's a little muggy up here in northern Arizona. So I'm gonna go ahead and fire on the mini split because we got air conditioning. Let's do it. Kick this bad boy on, set it for economy mode, get it a little bit cooler in here. And I'll show you guys what I've done. The mini split, you know, it's supposed to be hardwired, but in the meantime, since I'm running a temporary electrical setup, I just went ahead and put a standard 120 volt, like an extension cord end onto the bare wire from the mini split, and that way I can power it from the BLUETTI 300, and we can take a look and see the mini split just kicked on. It's ramping up, currently pulling 785, 88, 92, 800 watts. It's slowly climbing up. So we'll keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on the electrical system, see how it does throughout the job here. Oh, it already feels better in here. The minute that thing kicks on, the cool air just, it hits you. It's so nice. Okay, let's do it. Let's cut a hole in this countertop. I'm ready. So I'll be using some wood paddle bits, and I'll get the size that's just big enough for a jigsaw blade. I think probably 1/2 inch. And then I'm gonna run some blue tape down on the laminate countertop on the outside edge, just to help prevent any type of cracking or peeling that could potentially happen. Oops. And also keep the guide on the jigsaw from scuffing up the countertop. Although, as I mentioned, this stuff is super durable. I'm really happy with how it performs over time. So I don't think the jigsaw would scuff it anyway, but better safe than sorry. It's easy to remove the tape. It's not easy, maybe not even possible, to try and fix a scuffed up laminate countertop. So let's just avoid that altogether. That's what I'm saying. So I'm gonna be using my Makita 18 volt jigsaw, and we're gonna use, this is really important, we're gonna be using a reverse cut wood blade. Hopefully you guys can read that. But what a reverse cut blade does is it cuts on the downstroke rather than the upstroke. So a traditional jigsaw blade cuts on the upstroke, and that can cause chipping and ripping on the laminate surface. So we want to use a reverse cut, cuts it on the down, and that should help minimize any type of chipping or cracking on the laminate. And then we want to use one of these wood paddle bits that's just the right size of a jigsaw blade, and it looks like this 1/2 inch blade is just about perfect. And we're going to be cutting in the box truck here. It's going to be a big dusty mess. I do have a vacuum, a cordless 18 volt vacuum that I'll use, but ain't no way around it. It's just going to be messy at the, you know, a messy job, but that's okay. We're going to get messy, but then we're going to clean it up, and it's all going to work out. We're gonna leave a little piece here uncut, so that when we come back, that'll be our final cut. It'll be out here, easy to support. And so yeah, we'll deal with that little piece. We'll trim that little piece at the very end. Let's see, let's do, oh, you know what the challenge is? I'm not gonna be able to get the jigsaw in to get that angle appropriate. So I think what we'll do is we'll just come in from the edge here, and we'll just cut a little arc in it. That'll be okay. So now we just need one little cut right here, one little cut right here. So what I'm going to do is use my left hand underneath to support this tabletop so it doesn't try to fall through and crack the laminate. There we go. There she is. Oh, we just drop it straight through. And now I could cut this piece down a little bit and have a nice little cutting board. And look at that. Look at all that sawdust that fell down below. I put the cutting board down there to kind of keep everything off the wiring, but I'll have to definitely give this guy a good vacuum. Also, we got some dust that made it over onto the BLUETTI, onto the floor down here. So we got a pretty good amount of cleanup to do, but that's okay. We're prepared for it. We got vacuums. We got dishcloths. We got all the stuff we need to clean. Okay, let's see how we did. I measured this hole about 4 times before I cut it. It might be a little snug. I went real precise with it. Oh my goodness. So we got it. The sink fits great. It seats flush against the countertop. So now we're gonna pull the sink back out. We'll peel off all the blue tape, and then they want you to use like a silicone to seal around the base of the sink. However, I know from experience that if you use silicone to seal the sink as like your primary sealant, the vibration from driving down the road, it will cause the silicone to break loose over a pretty short amount of time. Like within a couple months, you'll find your sink is no longer sealed. It kind of like slops around a little bit. So we won't be using silicone. We'll be using a power grab. And I don't know if power grab is as good of a sealant as silicone, but I know that it's going to hold the sink down better. So what we might do is we'll put power grab. We might put power grab on the inside and then maybe some silicone on the outside. We'll make a little sealant sandwich. So here's what we got. We got the power grab. That's what we'll use to hold the sink in place. And then I have some acrylic latex. It's like a silicone. It's not silicone. It's similar, but this will be like a water sealant. So we'll slap both of these on there. Did you guys know your caulking gun has a little attachment on the side to pierce the tube? Some people don't know that. That's what it's for. And then if you're reusing a tube, it will knock out all the old dried up stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and do a bead on the perimeter. We'll drop this down in place and that'll be it. That'll be all we get. And here it is, sink installed. Still got to go through and set up all my drain components. What's interesting is it came with like a brass colored drain. I really don't want brass. I don't know why they gave us brass. Everything else in here is stainless. So I might actually just run into Lowe's and pick up a stainless version. Anyway, check out the caulking. Looks pretty good. I think that power grab silicone combination I think is going to be the winning combination. And then here's what the sink looks like underneath. It hangs down. I think it's a 9-inch deep sink. Looks pretty good in there. Now I just got to vacuum clean everything up, and then I'll do the drain another day. But at least for now, we got the sink installed. Let's take a quick peek at the BLUETTI here, see how it's doing. Currently we got 240 watts coming in, 97% battery, 372 watts going out. From the mini split, I'm also running my battery charger, and I was charging the camera a little bit ago. Let's see what it looks like outside. Look at that. Little rainy day here in northern Arizona. Nice and cool out here though. Not bad. Not a bad day to work on some projects. Alright, we're back at it, round 2. This is for the induction countertop. Made the measurements, put down the blue tape. Now this one's going to be a little bit more tricky because we're going to have to cut into that 2x2 a tiny bit, like the tiniest bit on the back and the front, because this cooktop is larger than the sink. It's on the outside of those 2x2s. Anyway, it's all good. We're just going to blast through and make it happen. I'm going to see if I can run the vacuum while I'm using the jigsaw, just to try to reduce some of the dust. Let's try it out, see what happens. She is. Woo, baby. Another cutting board. Alright, here it is. Moment of truth. See if this guy will slide in. Do a little test fit before we pull the tape. There it is. It's pretty close. Can I shove it down in? It looks like it's just hanging up a little bit on the front. There's like some screws in there that make the unit a little bit longer. So I think we'll. Oh no, maybe it will fit. Maybe it'll just pressure fit in place. That's what I did on my last rig. The hole was tight enough that I just jammed it in and then it stayed put. So maybe we're good. Let's go ahead and pull the tape. Let's go ahead and pull this tape, and then maybe we can just push it down into place and call it good. I wouldn't really worry about having to seal this one. Like I said, I didn't seal my last one. My last rig wasn't really an issue. A little piece here. There's one little chip here in the corner. Chipped out some laminate. That's it. Yep. That's in place. We're in business. Cooktop installed, and I would mention the cooktop has a little gasket on the bottom, little foam gasket, so that kind of seats against the countertop, gives it a little seal. And here it is. After rainy day afternoon at Lowe's, got the sink installed, countertop installed, got the induction cooktop flush mounted. It's looking good. So I'm gonna have upper cabinets all the way across, and then I'll have a exhaust, like a regular residential exhaust hood right above the cooktop, so that'll suck all the cooking fumes and send them outside. So that's looking pretty good. I think what I'm gonna do, since I'm at Lowe's, is I'm gonna go in and see if I can get one of these that's stainless. This one's pretty nice. It's good quality, but I just don't want brass. It's going to be the only thing in the rig that's brass. So I don't know. I'll go see what Lowe's has Check the power station, see how we're doing. 99% battery, 367 watts coming in, 236 going out. We're charging our Makita battery pack. The AC's, it's off right now. It's reached temperature. We'll take a look outside, see what it looks like. Look at that. Not bad. A little overcast, but it looks nice. A little water in the road there. We did have a pretty good downpour for a bit. Beautiful. I gotta say, I love building in a Lowe's parking lot. It's so dang handy. And we're back from Lowe's. I found a white sink strainer dish. It was only 20 bucks. Figured I'd grab it. All of the, like the fancy metal ones were like 30, so. This one, I think it'll work. It'll blend in. That's kind of what I want. I just want it to blend in, not stand out. So, go ahead and throw this guy in, see how it works. Yes. So here's what we got. We got the white part that goes on top, and then it has this little seal that goes around it, little foam seal, and that sits right down inside the base. There we go. And then the bottom part has this little rubber seal, so that'll go up from the bottom, and then this little piece is threaded, and that's what holds everything together. So let's see if I can do all this myself. Well, that's pretty easy. Here it is. Feels pretty tight. Well, that was super easy. Sink drain installed. Here's the little stopper. Looks pretty good. I like it. Well, you saw it here today, folks. At the Lowe's parking lot, we bought a countertop, cut in a sink, cut in an induction cooktop, and then we went back to Lowe's, bought a white strainer basket for the sink. And I think we did a pretty good job. Look at that. All sealed up down here. Nice little bead of silicone. And then over here we got the cooktop. And we'll check on the power station, see how we did. At the end of the day, 188 watts going out. That's just charging my drill battery, and then also running the mini split. And no power coming in because the battery's full. So that power station's really been a nice unit. The key is having a ton of solar, having 2,000 watts on the roof. Any amount of electricity I use, it instantly just gets replenished. And so it's been a good unit. I'm happy to have it as my temporary electrical. And if you guys are looking for something even not temporary, you know, if you guys want to make that your just full-time electrical system, nothing wrong with it. It's been a workhorse. And so you should definitely check one out. Head over to BLUETTI, head over to Amazon, grab one for yourself. They're definitely a good quality unit, and I approve of them. I like BLUETTI. They make good stuff. And I appreciate you for watching. From the Lowe's parking lot. Make sure to tune in next week and see what's happening. Every week I'm just busting my hump to try to get this box complete. So it's going to be another good video next week. Tune in, see what happens. And that's it for me. This is Nomad Brad signing out. Peace.